Brother Life Speaks. The name of the Most High, Allah, El Elo, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praise is due forever. We thank him for giving us his messenger. Peace, blessings be upon him, for his life and his death was all for Allah. We thank them. And it's their name that I meet and greet all of you. In ancient words of peace, Rahubat, Assalamu alaikum. I am your brother Life.
To listen to the teachings of a man whom he then knew as Mr. Farad. Mr. Farad. Mr. Farad was a little, short, 5'6", 130-pound black man with oily black hair, light brown skin, who appeared in Detroit going from door to door in the Negro neighborhood, selling silks, selling goods from the East. And as he would enter the homes of our people in Detroit, he would tell them, I'm your brother from the East. These silks that I have are the kind of silks your people wear back home. That shook our people up because they didn't know they came from back home. They thought they were from down home. He used to tell them about the glorious culture in the East that our people had. And as he would talk to our people, he got the ear of many of them. They used to convene in different ones' homes, in the home of different ones, in order to discuss what Master Farad was teaching. First they knew him as Mr. Farad. And as they began to listen to his teaching, they called him Master Farad. Because he taught like no other man ever taught. The interest of the so-called Negroes in Detroit in what Master Farad was teaching began to increase. Their numbers began to increase. There were too many of them to come into a home, so they rented a hall. They got together and took up a collection and rented a hall. And the crowd outgrew the hall. They had to get a larger hall. And there were so many thousands of people wanting to hear what Master Farad was teaching. They couldn't all get in at one time. This was back in 1930, 31, 32, 33. So he used to teach in shifts. There'd be crowds outside trying to get in. Nothing inside but black people. They didn't let nobody come in but black.
Stop playing with the information regarding the Most High. We are taught to pray to the West in reference and honorance to the new sun rising within us from the West.
When I met him, I looked at him and he, it just came to me like this, that this is the Son of Man that the Bible said, that prophesied that will come in the last days of the world, and that I couldn't get that out of me. And I shook hands with him, and I said to him, I say, you are the one that the Bible prophesies that will come at the end of the world under the name Son of Man and under the name the second coming of Jesus. And so he looked at me a little stern, and then he smiled and he put his head down to my beside my head and whispered in my ear and said these words. He said, yes, I am the one, but who knows that? But yourself. And be quiet. His mother, he says, was a white woman, and his father was a black man. Yes, sir. He taught us that he was born in Mecca, Arabia, and that he had come in and out of this country for about 20 years before ever that he made himself known to us. He had studied, he says, out here, or rather he had enrolled in the California University there, and he lived with the white family out there, he says, while he was going to the University of California. How long he went to this university, I don't know. But he says to me that he did go to this university and enroll there. And other universities he mentioned to me. And finally he told me this, that he had studied every educational systems of the civilized world, and that he could speak and, well, speak 16 languages and write 10 of them. He could speak 16 fluently. Well, I was not too much learned into scripture at that time, and I had not studied too much, but I had from a child up wanted to learn the scripture, because my father was a preacher, and I always from a child up wanted to help him or take his place one day. As
What I speak to you today of, the science of Anu Salam.
a preacher. And so I was always studying the Bible. And I had read much about the coming of the judgment and the coming of God and Jesus returning to resurrected dead and all like that. I had studied much of that. And so all of his talk and teachings correspond with what I had learned of the scripture. And therefore I become one of his, I should say 100% convert. And on his leave of us, he began to tell me what I may expect, what will come to pass, and what I should do to try and make my people qualified, or rather to reform them and make them acceptable by the Islamic people, and teach them that they must change completely in the way of righteousness, and that they would have to forego the name that they was in, and that he would give them all a name himself. And much he said to me. He used to teach me night and day. We used to sit sometime from early part of the night until sunrise and after sunrise, all night long for about 2 years or more. He was with us 3 years, a little better, and I was constantly around him, and he was constantly teaching me of things of Islam and what is to come and what was before. And this is the way that we began. And he patted his hand on my shoulder, give me kind of a little shove a way around it. And there was some more there present. And he started talking to some of them. And about a month later, he told my wife to tell me to go ahead and start teaching out there in the little part of, I would say, it's not a little part now, it's a very large part, in Hammett, Michigan. That's in Detroit. Hamtramck is in Detroit. And I was living in Hamtramck at that time. So he says to my wife, you tell him that he can go ahead because I had wrote him. And he received my letter. And I was telling him what I could not tell him there in the public. And then he says to me, you go ahead and start teaching, and I will back you up. And I started teaching that he was the answer to the prophecy of the coming of Jesus 2,000 years after Jesus' birth, and that this is the man at that time. And so I did begin teaching that with the Son of Man, the second coming of Jesus is present. This is him now, here among us. But he didn't allow me to go too far with that kind of teachings while he was present. He told me, he said, you can do that after I'm gone. He said, don't talk too much about me. He says, no, he says, give them a little milk. That's the way he talked all the time. And he never would say anything hardly just direct. He would give it to you in a way that you would have to learn just exactly what he meant.
Secret of the Godhead. This is how it says. It says when he comes, he'll come as lightning from the east and shine unto the west. He'll creep in as lightning does under the cover of darkness. He'll come and go so fast you won't know he's been there until he's gone. Right or wrong? You don't see no lightning. You saw lightning. Before you know what it is, it was. Same way with God in the last day. Before the people know he's here, he'll be gone. It says, behold, he'll come without observation. And he also says he'll come as a thief. He won't be a thief, but he'll come as a thief. Why he'll come as a thief? Because his people have been stolen by thieves. And his people are in the clutches of a den of thieves. His people are in a house that has been established upon thievery. Right or wrong? His people will be stolen from the east and will be found in the west. Therefore, as lightning from the east shines unto the west, God in the last day, if he wants to save his people, will have to leave the east and come into the west. And since his people have been stolen by the thieves of the west, in order for God to come into their midst and free his people from the clutches of these thieves, he has to make himself look like a thief. He has to take upon himself the appearance of one of the thieves. He can't come looking like his people. He can't come looking like his children. He can't come looking like one of the brothers. He has to come looking like the thief. So it says, behold, he cometh as a thief. He'll come as a thief, but he won't be a thief. But in order to come without observation, in order to come so he won't be observed and known by the thieves, he has to come as a thief. You all understand that? No, you don't. In the 43rd chapter of Isaiah, he says, and the 5th verse, fear not. That's God talking. Who are he talking to? Talking to his people. He said, fear not. Why? For I am with thee. I didn't used to be, but I am now. You should have been afraid yesterday, but you don't have to be afraid today. I saw you from a long ways off when you used to walk in front of the white man. And you'd be so scared your knees would be and your head would be itching. You scratched when you didn't itch because you were scared. But you were scared because you didn't have nobody to protect you. You didn't have no one to lean on. You had neither a sword nor shield. But he says, now fear not, for I am with thee. I'll bring thy seed from the east and gather thee from the west. Look here, what'll I do? I'll round up all your black, brown, red, and yellow people back home. They outnumber this man. There's 4,400,000,000 of them and only 400 million of these. These outnumber these 11 to 1. Look at here. 11 to 1, brother. 11 to 1. When you got someone outnumbered 11 to 1, you don't need no bomb. All you got to do is sit down on that one. And you're a man. Fear not, for I am with thee. I will bring thy seed from the east and gather thee from the west. Oh, that's good news. That's about the best news I've heard in a long time. He said, don't worry about a thing, because in the last day I'm going to wake all your people up all over the earth, and I'm going to pull the cover off this beast. And when I pull the cover off of him and make the whole world see him as he is, he's going to be in trouble. And it says, and the sixth angel poured out his vial. This is in Revelations in the 16th chapter and the 12th verse. Poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up. How come? In order that the way for the kings of the east might be prepared. You see how God is always talking? All throughout the book, he lets you know that some action is coming from the east. Some action is coming from the east. Some action is coming from the east. All praise is due to Allah.
By what he said. And so he says, you cannot give babies meat. And I understood what he was referring to. And so he said, give little baby milk. If one would open up such truth as the truth of God to the people, I do think that he's within his rights to stay out of the sight of the people until he has won everything to himself, as the Bible referred for us to it like this, that he's something like a king looking for a kingdom, and that he go and he visit the people, and then he leaves the people and goes away and wait until the time when that he can secure the kingdom. Then he returns to the people that he had made himself manifest to. So I think that is a pretty good answer. Wait. And they would be masters, gods, to rule the earth and the people, everything of life, for 6,000 years. And at the end of 6,000 years, the Aboriginal people will have at that time produced it another one, mightier than Yaqub in wisdom and knowledge, and he would be equal with that one that created the heavens and the earth. And he would have the power and the infinitive wisdom to make his word be as the first one. And this is the man we have before us today, to whom praise is due. Master Farad Muhammad is that man that have the wisdom or the knowledge, excuse me, of how the creation took place in the first place. What I mean, the creation of the universe, how it took place, and how life and everything began, down to 6,000 years of Mr. Yaqub and his world, and the knowledge of the world to come, of which he himself is the God of. He's the God of the next world. He's planting it now. And that world that he will set up, we see now gradually merging in, will be forever. There will be no change in that one.
A new SALEM is the new peace that is being brought in front of you. For surely this new peace was the nature of people, a new people, from a new mind who became a new way of thinking. In them was the light of all men. And we all have that connection, dear brothers and dear sisters. Don't let anyone tell you that you have to follow anyone, or that you have to go here or go there. No longer will you, viewers and listeners, have to ever seek anyone or place of truth, for you shall be the truth. The truth came in the well-made man. Allah himself came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom thanks are given forever. And he gave us a messenger, Elijah Muhammad. Peace and blessings be upon him, for his life and his death was all for Allah. And we are the black nation. Elijah Muhammad taught us that the black woman is the black nation, our black mothers is the black nation, and the black nation is Allah. And Allah came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. So we are all learning the science of separating the fact that the son of Mary is not the same son of the son of man. The son of Mary 2,000 years ago is not the one who was coming to be the son of man of today, known as the Mahdi, or Allah in flesh. And Allah is beyond flesh, though he can come in flesh. Allah is beyond person, though he can come in person. He is beyond place, though he can come in place. He is beyond titles like he, she, we, thee, even it. He is beyond titles. So don't play with the subject and the facts about Allah. If you have questions, seek, and ye shall find your answers. The sun is 93 million miles away, and it takes close to 8 minutes and 20 seconds for its light to reach you at a certain average. So embrace it. No matter how quick or how slow the light comes to you, embrace it. Even if you can't comprehend it at the moment, embrace it. For it was Elijah Muhammad who taught us that the darkness is the limits of space. Therefore, if light dwelled in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not, then the limits of space could not comprehend light. So, the light of the truth is not going to come in your limits, dear brothers and sisters. Wherever you have a limit to the truth, when you've limited the truth to a person, or you've limited the truth to a place, or you've limited the truth to a thing or idea, then you have now admitted that you have a level of darkness and a certain light you are not comprehending. So when Brother Life speaks, this is what happens. You see what you did not comprehend, and you begin to know what you did not know. For I am here to teach you that which you did not know. It was given to me, and it shall be given to you. So thank all the brothers who help in this fight called truth. We thank all the sisters who help in this fight called truth. Keep fighting, and understand that the fight is never to be centralized. Anybody trying to centralize the fight are disrespecting the fact that the life and deaths of all the messengers and prophets are now fulfilled. And you're disrespecting that by trying to centralize something that they accordingly decentralized as one. We are to run our own agendas. We are to have our own. Accept your own and be yourself. A lot of us are going to have our own cultures, our own languages, and our own names. So we got to start accepting that. Your own comes with that word, your own. Look up the word own. And you'll see that it is beyond person, place, and thing.